This idea came from a post on r/Toho, and I thought it was an interesting concept, so I wanted to do a more in-depth analysis of it. Could Reimu Hakurei beat an M4 Sherman tank in battle? Based on power scaling alone, Reimu would win, no doubt. But if we put the situation in the context of a battle, things get a bit more interesting. Let's start off with the M4 Sherman tank. Traditionally, tanks aren't anti-personnel weapons, so they're already at a disadvantage. However, many tanks including the M4 Sherman were equipped with smaller artillery for this exact purpose, in this case, machine guns. For this argument, we'll assume that the M4 Sherman tank is equipped with the standard 75mm M3 gun with the 50 caliber Browning M2 HB machine gun. The alternative attachments won't matter for this scenario because both current options share similar or identical disadvantages to any other artillery choices. Since regular bullets move faster and in closer spread than the magical bullets of Toho, it's possible that using the machine gun the tank gunner could strike Reimu. However, Reimu's flight and speed would make it near impossible for the gunner to lock on because she can move infinitely fast to an unreachable location. And this is completely disregarding the fact that to use the machine gun, the crew would need to expose themselves, which would inevitably lead to defeat. This leaves the turret as the only safe option to attack. Locking onto individuals is hard enough, let alone when you're facing a flying, magic-wielding Shrine Maiden. So the odds don't look promising for the M4. But don't worry, there still might be a chance. Magic and Toho project has always seemed like a strange case to me. Since Danmaku has been shown to damage organic matter, such as people and clothes, it would be reasonable to assume that wood could also be affected. But metal's a different story. Since Gensokyo is essentially a snapshot of feudal Japan, metal's not something that generally appears in any significant quantity. Being magic, Danmaku could probably damage metal, but as far as my knowledge is concerned, has never been shown to do so. Real-world examples would only be helpful if we knew the properties of the Danmaku bullets, but Magic and Toho is kinda up in the air most of the time. Like, are the bullets pure energy? Or are they electricity? Like, some are clearly fireballs, while others are stars, and I'm not even gonna pretend like I know what the player projectiles are supposed to be. This could be an example of me just being an idiot and not knowing enough about Toho, but for the purposes of this conversation, I'll lay out two probable scenarios. These hinge on whether Reimu's magic could or couldn't damage the M4 Sherman tank's armor. Scenario A. Very simple, Reimu's magic works against the tank's armor and she can easily decommission the M4 Sherman by attacking it. Nice and clean cut, but there isn't much evidence to back it up. Scenario B. Arguably more interesting, Reimu's magic cannot harm the M4 Sherman tank. To combat this, Reimu would likely do one of two things. Either keep dodging the tank's attack until the tank crew runs out of ammo, or she'll move to a position where the tank cannot attack her and she'll try to reason with the occupants. That is, if she understands that there are people inside controlling it, but that gets into a whole other can of worms, so let's assume that she does. Even so, considering that the M4 Sherman tank was an American sign from World War II, the tank occupants likely wouldn't speak Japanese and as such wouldn't be able to communicate with Reimu, leading to a stalemate. So in summary, Reimu will either beat the tank in combat or ride out the wave until an armistice can be achieved. Either way, the M4 Sherman tank doesn't stand a fucking chance. Some of you probably deduced this from the beginning, but I hope it was still interesting to take a more in-depth look into this silly little brain teaser. A big thanks to you/Wanasir for coming up with this hypothetical, and thank you, the viewer, for watching. Have a good one.